Okay, so we are going to start thinking about the cottage garden renovation. So what am I going to do? Where do I start? Oh my gosh, so this is crammed, right? There's 1,000,001 plants in here. But I can tell you there are things that are starting to get larger than, you expect when you plant them. This viburnum, for one, it's actually pretty much even with the border now, which is almost buried. This stone border, what I'm going to do to begin with is pull that border out. So I am going to take up about maybe 2 to 3 feet in the front of this and follow the same exact edging. One thing I thought of is from the overhead shot, when I looked at the shape of my sun garden along this edge and how I like that meandering border, I also may follow that sort of curve on the left side of this cottage garden. So right here, if you can see, it kind of just goes, it follows straight back to the vegetable garden. And what I'm thinking is when I pull out the rocks, to take these and go forward a little and connect it with this outside edge of my vegetable garden. Because what that's going to do is create sort of a cohesive curve with my sun garden bed, and also just make this a little more curvaceous, which will provide some more room for me to plant. Woo! It is chilly today. Look at this wind, craziness. Woo! But you know what? This is the best time ever to work. It's breezy, it's fun, it's cool. But anyway, so if you wanted to follow along with my renovations and where I start, this would be the video. So we're gonna start here. Let's do a quick little what's in here. So we have a royal purple smoke bush on the left. We have a viburnum. I am not sure of the variety of this, but it gets amazing fall color. So I'm waiting for this to start turning any day now. I have a blue chiffon Rosa Sharon in the back. I have a tree peony right here, sort of in the front middle border. Vanilla strawberry hydrangea. I have 2 William Baffin roses way in the back. Those are definitely going to come out. I will probably give those away, as someone had suggested I do, instead of chucking them. Although my idea of chucking them is just putting them like in the way back in all that land over there and letting them do their thing where I don't have to maintain them or really care what happens. I could do that. These asters right here are a perennial, but I kind of like that natural look. Like, aren't those beautiful? Look at this. They're starting to open now. Ah, they're so pretty. And I love them. And they're a host plant, so I definitely am going to keep those there because it's been a few years since they were in. There's only 2 plants there, and they do amazing. And then, of course, we have Pinky Winky. And in front, we have some peonies, herbaceous peonies. And then all the perennials are sort of stocked in between the shrubs. So what I'm going to do is I'm not moving the shrubs. These are going to sort of stay as the bone structure in the back of the gardens, or in the back of this garden. And what I'm going to do is sort of pull that rock border out, and then I'm going to take out the perennials. Only temporarily. I will cut back as I need to, because when you dig out perennials at this time of the year, you really have to cut them back, and they don't mind that. So I will cut back the perennials that we're taking out, and then we're going to take another look. We're going to get that border sort of solidified, figure out, kind of confirm where that border is going to go and the shape of it. And then we're going to take a look. So what we'll have in here is nothing but the asters, the Pinky Winky, the vanilla strawberry, the tree peony, blue chiffon, hibiscus or Rosa Sharon, the viburnum, and the smoke tree. So all of those bigger backdrop bare bones shrubs, those are going to stay. And then I have to see, where do I have gaps? Where do I need to fill in? what am I missing, and what is the color scheme that I want to go with. There is a lot of pink in here, a lot of pink. So we are going to sort of mix this up a little bit. We have some allium bulbs in there in the fall or in the spring. They come out and bloom purple, and then it just kind of, everything in here goes pink. I'm not sure how exactly that happened, but, and then I can tell you, like the Glamour Girl, a little too tall. It's also blocking the, you know, the glory of the asters in the back. So there's a few things that need to be done, and I think the first thing to do, or the first thing that I usually do, is just start with the border. If the border is correct, then I can start taking out the things that annoy me, like the catmint that's always creeping over the edge. Now, if the border was out a little farther, I may not have to move that catmint if I bring the border out and just make it behave itself a little bit and actually give it the space that it really needed. You know, that's partially my fault because I crammed this giant catmint right on the border and wanted it to behave itself. You know, that's something that I did when I should have planted something smaller like this, that size catmint, because that will behave and it does stay behind the border, but it doesn't really do anything for me. So I also want to mix up some foliage colors. I think a good example to show you, you know, this is all sort of green. So when it's not in bloom or it's kind of dying back, and you know, there's not really a lot of variation there. And one thing I liked was this sort of self-sown Golden Jubilee hyssop. It's beautiful, and you see how it pops. It has that limey color. So I may add some of that limey color in there, and then repeat some of that dark foliage from the Royal Purple Smoke Bush. So I just want to break it up a little bit. Just add some different colors, different textures. I also have some variegated iris that almost looks like a grass. And I think I'm going to shove that in there somewhere too, because I don't have a lot of white in the foliage. No variegation really. So that is what I'm thinking for now to start with this garden. And we'll take you along as hopefully if I can get my husband to help me, sort of pull this edge out and rework the making of this cottage garden. Okay, so I've begun to dig out the clumps of plants, and what I'm doing is I'm putting all the plants that are similar in one spot. So this lovely wagon is going to get all of our little Stachys humelo. This is called lamb's ear, although it's not a true lamb's ear. So I have a whole bunch of sections, 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you can see, they're pretty big sections. They need to be divided. So this is kind of a good thing. But I'll show you, like, they were underneath the tree peony. So now we have a nice bare spot there. And as I make my way through this garden, I'm also pulling out, I had another section there. So I am going to, oh, I missed one. Got one more there. So I'm going to take that out, and then I'm going to start working on pulling similar plants and just sort of clumping them in one spot so I can sort of remain organized when I need to put them back. Okay, so now you can see I'm really starting to work my way in. I've taken out some cone flowers, which if I don't know the color, because either the flowers past peak and I'm not really sure, I'm just putting them in a pile. I know these are all the pink purpurias, and I know this section is all white. So if you can separate them, do it, because then you'll know sort of what clumps you're going to put back in what color, unless you don't care and you're going to mix up your cone flowers. This part is okay. You're not really doing anything terrible to the cone flowers because they do still have some dirt around the roots, but I'm going to clip these back anyway. So you see these flowers that are still on there? I'm going to go ahead and cut that stalk off, and I'm going to be left with the foliage. And this is really what you're going to put back anyway. So that's where I'm at now, and I'm going to start working my way. I'm going to prune back these lobelia down to the ground, because if you'll notice, minus the weeds here, if you notice, like these stalks, if I cut all these stalks back, kind of hard to do this one-handed, but you'll see all that is new foliage for next year. So that's what we're gonna do. That's what's gonna kind of feed the plant through our real hard frost, up until our real hard frost. All of those beautiful leaves are going to absorb the food from the sun and continue to help make those plants. Now you could separate these rosettes if you wanted for a bigger section of lobelia, or you can just leave them as they are in those clumps, but I'm going to go ahead and cut those back so that I only see those little rosettes on the ground. Okay, so I'm a lot farther than I was before, and now I'm just starting to play around with placement. So I have a few things that I could add in here. I've cleared out a lot. As you can see, all the daylilies, coneflowers are out. And if you remember, I had this big hole in front of the vanilla strawberry hydrangea. So I'm putting the phlox there because they get 3 feet tall roughly. And I think that that's the perfect size, because my ultimate goal is to transition this garden from high to low, from the back to the front, right? So I think the phlox is going to go there, and that'll just sort of make this nice, I don't know, just sort of a nice transition. And what I did was I also took out those rose bushes in the back. So those are gone. Still have my phlox here, and I have another dark night bluebeard, or Caryopteris, and that gets 2 to 3 feet tall and wide. So I may move that right next to the Glamour Girl, which means I'll have to move the black truffle a little bit. But I do like that that has silver foliage, and it needs a little bit of a breakup of color there. So I'll use the black truffles on the right hand side. I'm going to swap out where the dark night is with the black truffles, which obviously I cut back earlier. So I'm going to swap those and put them on either side, or put them on opposite sides. So I'm just starting to do the reworking here. You know, I have a lot of plants that are out and ready to be housed, and I just have to really think about my spring color, my mid to late spring color, summer color, and then fall and late fall color. So obviously I have allium and peonies in here for spring color, and that's a tree peony. The herbaceous peonies are going to stay, so I'll have those, plus the allium are in here, if you remember from earlier videos. And so I have that covered. My mid to late spring into summer, the bee balm, this dwarf bee balm in the front, that's going to cover. Also the catmint covers that pretty well, and those are kind of front of the border plants. And then I'll have the summer, which I'll have coneflowers plugged in here, and daylilies, and then of course the phlox and the hydrangeas, black-eyed Susans. Butterfly bush is also going to be added back there. So yeah, so this is getting a major workout, like me. So we're shaping up, got some big holes to fill, but lots of things to fill them. Okay, day number 2. And yes, I left all of my coneflowers in a stack with no water. I have to give them a good soak today, but ran out of time because my son had to play baseball and my husband wasn't home in time to bring him. So I am starting now to clear out the grass where I want to pull the rock border forward. So I have about 18 inches right now. I'm really going to see once I pull those rocks if I need to go any farther than that, or if maybe it will cover just enough ground for me to get all of these perennials planted back in. So it's kind of a better day to film because it's a little bit cloudy, and it rained a little bit last night. So as you can see, I put a viburnum back here. This is going to get 8 feet tall, which I think is going to be perfect to go with the Pinky Winky. I moved the thalictrum to behind the asters, and that is because those get also 7 feet tall, so they'll show really nicely behind those asters. I know they're hidden now, but that's because I cut them back. Also the giant Rudbeckia maxima with the blue leaves. There's one section right here that's left, that is the only one left. I'm gonna take that out. I put those in the sun garden back here because they're super tall. This garden is sloping downward, and they will be tall enough to view from the other side of the sun garden when they're in bloom. So I kind of like that idea. Plus black-eyed Susans take over, you know, back here. So I have to kind of manage those anyway. So I did pull a few of those out. And yeah, so we have some of that happening. I have some beautiful grasses I may add in because I don't do a lot with grasses, but I do love them this time of year. And what else? That's it. So I'm going to continue to work on pulling this grass up with my shovel and pulling out this rock ledge. Day number 2. It's exhausting, but I'm excited to see what this is going to look like. Cleo, want to dig? Want to dig? Yeah? I doubt it. Okay, some progress. So obviously moving this border out means I'm going to be short rocks, but I did get to move them all, and they're all pretty stable. Still have a little packing to do in the dirt and underneath some of them. But when I got to this end over here, I thought, you know what, I have a spare bench that someone gave me, and I'm thinking, because I'm short rocks for now, to put the bench right here, and that way I won't need rocks because you don't want to step over rocks to get to the bench. So I think maybe a bench in this garden is going to be sweet. And then of course there's a wider end over here where the bench would be. So I don't know, I think that kind of works. I think that's a good idea. It gets kind of narrow in the center and then it widens up back there. Except I already have a whole bunch of things planted at the other end of that garden. So let's see how the bench looks.
What in tarnations are you doing here? I leave for a day and this is what happens?
I needed 2.
Have you lost your mind?
I lost some water, sweating.
What is going on here?
I'm redoing it.
Redoing it? Aren't you a little nervous here? Like, what happened to all the plants?
I'm nervous that I'm not going to get it done before the rain comes.
This is like a major revamp here, honey.
Well, I didn't like this garden. Now I will.
So, what are you doing? What's happening here? I see we got a bench now.
Well, Rich gave us that, so I think I like that there because it gives, you know, I have to situate it a little better. The thing is heavy, so I need your help doing that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I gotta move it a little bit. I'm gonna put some stuff behind it. I got some little short lavender I'm gonna put in. I gotta get all of these plants back in the ground because it's gonna rain. It's perfect timing. It's cooler weather. I am sweating like a pig.
So explain to the viewers exactly what you're doing. Is this normal or is this you bought some new plants?
I didn't really buy it. I bought lavender. That's it. Everything else is getting moved or divided from my own stuff. All right, there's a couple new, but most of it's going back in where it came out.
So why did you take it out? Just to move it in a certain spot? Like,
because this garden was horrible. I wanted, ultimately, what was that?
That's Emma Lou throwing things around.
Something big. All the shrubs that I put in, like over the last few years, they're big now. So the border, like all the perennials are tucked way underneath, and I want to pull all this out. So
it means you're going to try to make the garden bigger.
I did make it bigger. I pulled this out already. I did about 18 inches here, and then I curved it wider there.
Were you trying to be sneaky and get it done before I got home?
No, but I had a 2-day window and I wanted to start it because, you know, I have to work. So I have to do this in between. I needed to time it with the rain. The rain is coming tomorrow and Friday. So I had to get it done. I can't wait for you.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't wait for
and now
me.
you're wasting my time because I'm trying to figure out how. Okay, so yeah. So now I have to figure out where I'm gonna plug back in things. I need more coneflowers over there. So I'll explain this because people did ask about how I decide what goes where. So here's a few things. Want to come around the back?
Sure. What a mess you've made. Where are all these plants gonna go?
These I'm taking out. These can go wherever you want to put them. They can go down at the other property. They can go wherever. Whoa! Almost killed myself. Oh, so like these beautiful things, like they're really short right now. But if you look at the garden from this angle right now, these usually get like 7 feet tall. They'll go up to that bird box. So that's why they're back here behind the asters. The asters I have corralled with string because they flopped over. I didn't pinch them back. But that's ultimately, if I want these to be a little lower, I can pinch them back in the spring and keep their height down a little bit. I put in a viburnum, which is gonna get 8 feet, up to 8 feet tall and like 6 feet wide. So it's gonna fill this area back here. It's got berries for the birds. It gets beautiful fall color. It gets spring bloom, white flowers. I have a mess back here too.
It's a viburnum.
Yes, viburnum.
We don't have one of those already?
We have tons of these. They're amazing. The one behind the birdhouse in the sun garden is a viburnum. This one is Winterthur Witherrod. Who comes up with these?
Half price sale?
Sure.
Yeah.
And then I put a butterfly bush in. Check this out. Where is it? Is this? Oh, you know what? I was gonna be smart and show you the 50% off tag, but that was on the hydrangea.
Yeah. So
anyway.
what's this on the ground? What got on the cutting room floor here?
I don't. It's just all this stuff just needed. It all came from here. It's still in here. I just took some out because I want the taller stuff to come in. These got cut back and replanted. See, these get really tall. That's what's over there. They get really beautiful purple flowers. They're very airy. And then the butterfly bush is gonna fill in. It gets like, this is a big one. It doesn't look big now, which is why it looks odd that the cone flowers are taller and in the front. But when this starts to grow and establish, it's gonna fill in this area between the viburnum and the hydrangea. So that's what I wanted to show. It doesn't quite look right from the other angle, but that's because this is small yet. And it is supposed to get, what does this say, 4 to 5 feet tall and wide. So it's going to be up here and filled with big blue, big purple flowers for the butterflies. So, and then I just cleaned out back here. There's like, it's a mess back there.
So you don't
Whoa,
get nervous?
you are not going to want
it had thorns.
Yep.
Oh, God, my calf.
That's what you get for annoying me.
Got cut in half for crying out loud. So,
and I got some beautiful grasses.
where did you get all these beautiful grasses?
Donations. People love me. They just donate me stuff. I'm kidding. I went, where did I go for that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have time to explain all this stuff. I have things to do. But anyway, so I'm adding some stuff in here just to see. I'm going to put some daylilies in here. 1, 2, 3, probably 3 patches. You know, and I was also thinking that daylily garden back there, remember I did behind the patio? I kind of want to take out the ones that did really well, put them in here, and then put hydrangeas back behind the grill because it's really shaded right now. And the hydrangeas that I want to put back there like that, the daylilies really don't have any vigor back there. I think they're just in the wrong spot. I just put them there because that was really the place I had to hold them. But I'm going to put the rest of them in my vegetable garden in that one raised bed. And that way the deer don't eat them and I can hybridize. I don't have to worry about the pods, all that stuff. So that's like another project I just figured out today.
Did you have a plan before you started this, or is this like complete chaos and then it just kind of comes together?
It's chaos.
So no outline, no nothing. You saw a few plants at the nursery.
What I wanted to do. I know what I have. I know what can go in. And now I'm just working on, you know, envisioning what the mature size, the colors. See how there's like silver, there's lime, there's the Black truffles got cut back, but those will be like that deep burgundy. I just need more color even when it's not in bloom. So I'm sort of reworking this because it was a lot of green, a lot of, you know, stuff it wasn't stacked right. The big glamour girls were the same height as the asters. So now the glamour girls got a little bit, see, they're right in front of the hydrangea. It's perfect level. And then I have another step down to the bee balm, the dwarf bee balm. And then the catmint, I'm kind of gonna leave there. I actually thought I was gonna take this out, but I actually like that it's filling in and almost cascading over here. So I'm gonna do that, but I do have to take this out. I think I'm gonna take that out and put a David Austin rose from over there in there. So
I guess you did come out a little bit.
I did.
How am I supposed? I can't even drive the tractor through there anymore.
You couldn't before. I tried.
That's because you keep extending it. That's why you can't drive through it.
What I want to do is match this curve with the sun garden curve, but I thought you would really be upset about that. Oh. Rolling in dirt. Cleo.
Dumb dogs we have.
She's been actually out here taking a nap the whole time. Huh.
You might not want to bend over in yoga pants there, sweetie
Well,
pie.
you might not want to film it then.
Well,
You know
I
what?
tried to step to the
You know
side.
what? Honestly, look.
I
Come on. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I'm so used to you just blabbing, and I didn't. Yeah, this is.
That's fine. Just don't bend over.
Oh, jeez.
We're fine. So you're basically going to take all these plants I see in the wheelbarrow and the pot over here. All this stuff is going back in.
No, I'm working on that. I'm trying to figure out where I want it, if it will go back in. I have these separated by color. In here, they're kind of they're kind of soaking. Man, coneflower head seeds, the little, these cones when they're done, those things hurt. They're like needles. Yeah. So I just have to figure out what I'm gonna do now. I think I'm gonna put these fatal attractions in here because they don't get super tall, but they stay there, so I like that. And then I gotta put some daylilies in. I gotta take those out. I don't know what those are, but those didn't bloom and those didn't bloom. Oh no, wait, those did bloom. These were pretty. I might just move those forward, or maybe move them here and then figure out what's the stuff back there. But I'm gonna take those out because those didn't bloom. So they're obviously either not happy or I don't know. And then I have a whole bunch of this Stachys humelo. So this is Stachys humelo. There are like 1,000 plants in this. I could give everyone in this town one. Literally. But
Maybe you should.
They're pink. They're like pink, and what I'm gonna do probably, because they're low. I know, look at me throwing plants around, but trust me, I know these things are tough.
It kind of doesn't make sense to remove a bunch of plants and then put plants back there where you say you could give enough back to the town.
What?
You just said you have so many plants here, you could give them to the whole entire town.
These multiply so much that it's like, you know what I might do? You know how I don't like these Stellas. You know what I'm gonna do? It's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna replace these.
Whoops, you did it again.
What? Well, maybe you're filming from the wrong angle.
Maybe I am.
I got stuff to do. I'm gonna replace the Stellas with these. Because you know what? You see how that's gonna work out? I like that, and I have enough of them to do the whole border.
How many times have you planted something and then had to rip it right back out because you realized?
I haven't really done that. I kind of put them like this. So I'm not really planting them. I'm kind of placing them. And then what I'll do is I'll move them all out, dig up the Stellas. I might keep a few patches of Stellas in there. You know, I do like the little yellows, but I have enough. See, I like that already. Oh, and these things multiply like maniacs, and they send up pink flowers, and they bloom a long time. And I could go as far as I wanted, really.
Now, isn't that going to be crowded when it grows in?
It doesn't matter. They multiply so much. Those, I'm not worried. You kind of want that. It's like a little drift. Ooh, look at it. Oh.
It's a monarch.
Leo. Oh, it's beautiful. Don't get too close. Don't disturb him. He showed up yesterday. I mean, I don't know if it's the same male, but I'm assuming. He's so pretty. Oh, they're so fluttery and beautiful.
Shouldn't they be heading south by now?
They are. I'm sure he's migrating. So leave him alone so he can eat. So anyway. I'm tired already.
Do you think butterflies get migrating headaches?
Please, don't bother me. Did you just think of that? Like, did you strain too hard to think of that?
Too much dead air, honey. I had to fill it with something.
I gotta pull those little catmen up here.
So this is pretty much it, though. You're done ripping stuff out.
Yes, ripping stuff out. See, these are little short lavenders, and if you minus the pot and you put that in there, I'm gonna like that. I'm gonna like this little lavender in there. Plus, it breaks up the green with some silver and purple. I like that it's got dark blue. Got some dark blue or dark purple blooms in it. I got to adjust this. It's not quite right. I have to do something with that. It's kind of driving my brain crazy. But, you know, I like that I can plug in some lavender. Like, this is catmint, too close to lavender, so I don't need to put it there. This could use some. If I wanted to put it in a V, I could do it like that. Which I like when you plant in threes. Never do it in a line, just do it in a V. Kind of like a little bit more natural, in my opinion.
Have you ever left this garden alone?
It won't do what I want, so no. Ooh, I like that. That will work. Look, even that will work. See, it doesn't matter. It's like all in a, and then it kind of fills that in, kind of like that. And then the only problem is I have one left. So if I decide not to put the one next to the bench, I could take this and put another 3. I gotta take out this daylily, but I think I'll just do that. I think I'll take the 3. This is what I do all day long. And then put these like this in my little triangle, see? And then I have sort of repeating color. It'll pull in the purple from the Caryopteris. It'll break up the purple. It'll break up the green, all the greens with some silvery foliage. So I like that. And then I have to watch out for that tractor.
Yeah.
I got a few tractors. I needed help. I had all these plants to like.
Looks like you did pretty good on your own.
Well, yeah.
I'll have to hand it to you.
It's not my first year doing this. I do it every year. Wait, you're lucky I'm not doing that one.
I noticed you never picked this stuff up, though, that you'd cleared out the other day.
You told me you would.
Yeah, well, one job at a time, please.
Well.
You didn't even thin this one out. You just ripped everything out.
This one?
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinning when I plant it. When I put back, I'm thinning. Like, I don't know.
How many times do you second and third guess yourself?
You know what I have to do? So this is where you ask me if I always take things out, put them back, whatever. This is one of those times I'm gonna do that because, see this? I put them, there's only 2 plants. Oh look, there's a dragonfly. Beautiful. Let me take a picture of that.
Oh, please. How many dragonflies can you see?
He's red. No, I'll do it.
I got him.
I want to take a picture.
Look at how beautiful footage that is.
Terrible. Anyway, so here's the thing. With this, I have 2 clumps of it. So if I wanted to make this 3 clumps, I could. I can divide these out and just separate one of the clumps and make the little V, which I need to do. So I can do that, or I can move it.
Why do you want to move it now?
Because there's 2. I'll show you what I'm gonna do. So down here, oof,
That didn't sound too good.
no, down here, see, you can take these off. See how they, as long as they have roots, and it's actually growing another little plant at the bottom, or if you shake off the dirt. I don't like to do this too much when I'm transplanting, but I need to get some plants separated so I can make 3. And these are Mamma Mia's. I love these. These are my faves. So, see? Now we'll have 3 clumps.
I thought your Mamma Mia's got mites.
No. Well, these didn't. These were in the garden. They bloomed just fine. But the ones over in the ones over there did. But anyway, so now it's like this little V. I know you can't tell really. You probably can't even tell a difference. But now I have 3, so it's going to come up in sort of a section. And then I'm going to be able to put something in here. I'm going to put daylilies. Probably daylilies there. Maybe daylilies here. Maybe do a V of daylilies. And then I'll pull some more of that.
So what did you just do?
What?
Like, what did you just do? You just separated it and then put it together closer?
Well, I probably should have separated that out a little. The problem was I couldn't dig because I didn't have a shovel. There, does this make you feel better?
No, I was just trying
I
to...
just was showing you what you can do to divide these out and make a bigger section, and you shouldn't plant in 2s. Being you super inspected it, and yes, it's pretty close because you're trying to interfere with my...
I'm not trying to interfere, honey. I'm just trying to understand the mind of a garden designer.
Well, wow. I pulled up a daffodil bulb. Huge. And then, so there, that's better. So now I have 3 sections that are a little bit more spaced, properly spaced. So...
It's crazy. I'd be going nuts. I feel like I'm tired just watching it.
yeah, it's exhausting.
And why do you have to beat the rain? What is the deal? Do you recommend that you do this before you're going to have a couple days of rain?
I don't have to water it then. You move everything. You need to keep them watered. It's a pain in the butt. So if I can let the Mother Nature do it for me.
So would you recommend, if you're going to revamp a garden, don't do it during a dry spell? Kind of do it when you do have a lot of moisture and you've had a lot of rain?
Preferably before you get the rain.
But if you don't, make sure you water it thoroughly.
I'm moving that. It was already loose. I planted it there, but I'm actually going to pull it up and I'm going to put some coneflowers in there. I'm just moving this because it's a short plant and I want it near the border. What, Emma?
Hi.
I think I might move all these down and over. That's what happens. You move one thing and then you get like, oh, I need to move that, and then I need to move that, and I need to move that. It's actually easier to redo the whole garden sometimes, because if you add a plant, then you're like, oh, then this looks off, and then you end up revamping the whole thing anyway. So I don't mind doing it this way.
Is this the right time to revamp though?
Yes, it is perfect timing.
You don't want to do this in the spring.
There's enough, you can, but you know what? If you let them come up if you plant them in the fall has cooler temperatures, right? So what happens is the roots, whenever they feel the cooler temperatures and there's less daylight, it stimulates new growth, which is why you plant in the fall. So you want those roots to go in and dig down and create new little feeler roots out there. And then in the spring, everything comes up nice and fresh. That's why I'd prefer to do it in the fall. That's why I do it in the fall. Some things get done in the spring, but only if it's absolutely necessary. So see, I kind of like this. This is like, I kind of like the sequence of this. There's not much color going on, but I'm gonna put something, I'm taking that little section out, and then I'm gonna put.
So how do you know how to do it for seasons, to get color for all seasons?
You gotta know when things bloom. That's not always easy because everybody's different, but in general, there's a pretty good, you kind of know, it'll tell you on the plant tag when things bloom, and then you just sometimes have to adjust for your own area and climate. You know, like these usually bloom in like late May, early June, and I cut them back, and now I'm getting a rebloom on them for the first time. I think a mosquito got me. And here's another thing, like if I want to fill in this gap right here, instead of moving both of them over, I'm going to take the farthest one and put it in the middle. That way I don't have to move this one, right? That's smart. Then you're only disturbing really a few plants. And this is what happens, look. See the roots on the bottom? Those are all new shoots that want to come up. So I'm giving them a place to come up. I'm giving them some space. I'm giving them some new dirt. And bee balm, this behaves a lot better than the other bee balm. It doesn't take over. It's clump forming. It's not a spread. I mean, it looks like it's spreading, but it really is so easy to manage. So.
Doesn't bee balm get kind of high though?
This is dwarf. Normally, yes. The ones behind the rock garden get really high.
So there's a lot of things you have to consider when you're revamping a garden or even designing a garden.
So in the fall, it's easy too, because if you don't cut your stuff back, you can dig it out at mature height and replant it at mature height. Like for example, those coneflowers, those are the mature height. So I know exactly what that's gonna look like next year. And I know how tall that golden jubilee hyssop gets. It actually gets tall. This is gonna spread out a little bit, so I left a little bit of room. I know how tall that gets because I just corralled it. And I know that that gets 4 to 5 feet tall and wide. So I know that this is gonna work out.
What color is the jubilee gonna be?
It's got purple flowers, but I like it more for the foliage. And the bees love that. Actually, that's one of the plants that produces a ton of seed that I'm sharing soon. Ew, that was a terrible, terrible job on my part.
So how do you know if a plant is easy to divide like that? Just the roots alone will tell you, right?
I think just from doing it. I don't know. I just, I think when you plant things, you start learning what their root systems look like. And then when you divide in the fall, because you know things are too, experience really, you just dig them up and you know how well things come back after you dig them up. You can research them. It'll tell you, you could just dig them up and like this, this mess. I know if I plant these are a little dry, which is why they don't look as nice as the other two. But I'm gonna put these back there and cover them. And then I have this nice little section of bee balm, and then I just opened up this little area here, and I have a nice cohesive border so far. Like I'm starting to like this. So, and then of course you can pull the weeds as you're, oh, the sun is killing me today. It was cloudy.
Well, at least you have a little breeze. That's the good thing about fall, and probably another reason why you want to do all this manual labor when the sun is at an angle where it's not cooking you all day.
True. Although I did get cooked a few hours today.
Definitely looking a lot better.
Oh yeah, you can tell. Now I just got to make sure that I have enough spring color like my peonies. And then I'm going to put a rose in here too. Actually, I think the rose is gonna go there.
So you moved all these rocks by yourself?
I did.
Are you sure?
Well, me and the shovel. Yeah, why? You think I had help?
I don't know.
Please. You should know me by now. How many times do you come home and the living room furniture is moved around? It's just me.
It's amazing what a little 100-pound woman can do.
You know, I gotta say, most people would probably not believe that I dug all this and moved the rocks, and actually that bench alone is probably 300 pounds, but it's in 3 pieces, so I use the wheelbarrow a lot to finagle that over here.
It's determination, really.
Well, yeah, I gotta get it done.
And that's what I love about you, that you don't wait for your husband to get home, that you get right out here and you do this.
Oh, zip it.
Boy, oh boy, is that inspirational for me.
You know what? It's great, because then I have all the power in the world to tell you to clean up that mess in the yard I made.
You know what? I don't have a problem cleaning up that mess in the yard. I'll probably do it tonight after the game.
After what game?
A baseball game I watch, you know.
You can do it while you're watching the game.
Well, I guess I could listen to it, but, you know, I
Because
do.
all this has to be off the lawn before it rains.
I do my part, folks. I'm not just a producer.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
We're all fancy now.
well,
You can tell, right? I got out here in my Sunday best to do the video.
that's what I like, honey. It doesn't really matter what you wear when you're gardening.
It doesn't.
It's
Most
like-
people garden in this stuff. I mean, probably. Hey, you know what? I'm really like, you're lucky I'm not in my jammies. I'm pretty close.
And you don't worry about getting those yoga pants all messed up.
No, because you wash them.
Yeah, and I wash them good.
So anyway,
No stains on those pants.
you know, so this is a little far back. Now the question is, do I slice that back half and bring it forward? Yes.
Boy, I'd go bonkers. Now, how do you know it's not going to get out of hand? Like, how do you know how big all this stuff's going to grow width-wise?
That's what you manage. You're not just gonna plant the garden and leave it be. You have to manage everything. If it gets too wide or it starts taking off, you yank it out. You divide it, give some to your friends.
So there is room for error here, folks.
Oh my God, I redid this, what, 2 years ago? And last year sucked.
How many times have you redone it today?
This garden?
Yeah.
I don't consider me redoing it. I don't think it's really redone until I'm done planting everything. I'm moving around, like, see? Now that's gonna be a nice little drift of color when it blooms. You know? I think I might move the Glamour Girls over a little though now.
So how do you know what colors these
Those
are
are
going to
purple.
be? All these are purple.
Yes.
And you know that just from memory or
No, I
just
can see
because?
Yes. I specifically chose purple. But I
Okay.
put them in, yes.
You like purple. There's a lot of purple in this garden.
There's a lot of pink actually. So I'm not gonna get rid of the pink, but I'm definitely gonna.
That's weird. I thought those plants were already in the ground. I like that. That is a very smart move.
They were in the ground.
Well, they were before, but you just...
No, they were planted. I just moved them. I wanted it moved over a little. Because after I got these done, see, it's like I put these in first, but now I'm not happy exactly with where they were. So I'm moving them around. I don't know any gardener that doesn't like plant stuff and then kind of move it again and move it around. And you know what, next year something will come up, you know, too far over, but I like that, look. So now, do you see how it's like, I'm gonna move this one over. Hang on. Got a little update going on. Oh, darn it. I dug up my allium. Wow. But you know what? I can divide
What is that?
These are my allium bulbs. Remember those big purple balls? And I always say, oh, they're getting too close and they'd multiply. So now I can take one out.
So how do you know that there aren't a bunch of bulbs already in the ground that are going to come up
I don't.
and screw this whole design up?
That is correct. It could. It'll never screw it up, but I'll know I have to move something. So that's that.
So don't be surprised if in the spring you start seeing these plants that you forgot were there.
So now, see how I have like a hole there? I could actually put the allium bulbs in between here, so they'll grow up. They're the first things that come up in the spring. So I could put these back here, which I'm gonna, oh, look at this. All three came up. So now what I'll do is 1, 2, 3, and I'll plant them down and they'll come up and they'll bloom purple balls right there.
Yeah, but how do you know there's not like 20 underneath the soil?
Oh, there is. I've been terrible at dividing them.
So why are they in a bulb like that? Did you already cut them down and they died or something?
The foliage dies back naturally, but the bulb gets bigger and bigger every year. Look, so this multiplied. Look how small. This was a division of the bulb, and then they'll break off, and then you'll have small bulbs, and then you have the master bulb.
So what happened to the stems? Did you cut them back?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't really have to cut them back. I just cleaned them up because they die back naturally by themselves. So those will go in there. Maybe I'll put one here. Hope for the best there. I have so many allium. That whole garden, this is where I have to pull them next year. And then, so now, if I take these out, right? I like the 3 there, and I might do the same thing here, but I have to take this daylily out. So now I can decide if I want to take out like these black truffles. Maybe I make a bigger section here of them, which I think I'm going to do, and then I can plant something here. What can go there? What can go there? See, I don't know if orange. I don't know if these guys are going to look good there.
So those purple plants that you just moved,
Yeah.
they're done now. They're not going there.
What, the purple?
I thought that was
they
whole...
are. They're going in the front. I'm trying to figure out that bare section in the back right now.
All right, so they're going back, because I thought that was the whole reason you just moved a bunch of stuff, was because of those.
Yeah. Oh, well, they're going back.
Okay.
They're going back. I'm just moving them so I can get a feel for what needs to go there. So now I could probably put in some white cone flowers. I think what I'm going to do is take these.
Now, were these originally there?
Yes. These I haven't moved yet, but these are easy. So the good thing about lobelia is when you move them, they just pull apart. Like, look at this. These are the new plants. They literally just pull apart. So I have like 1, 2. If I want to keep pulling these apart, I could have a whole section of these like this, and I could keep going if I wanted. Ugh, this one's in there.
So they spread naturally, though.
They don't really spread. They clump up, but if you spread them apart, you'll have a bigger section. See, like if I wanted to expand that tiny little clump into a big one, maybe what I do is push all this back here and have that red foliage in front of the hydrangea. What do you think of that? What if we just did a big section of cardinal flowers, because the hummingbirds love them, and I'd have red foliage there, which I don't really have anywhere else except for the royal smoke bush. So by doing that, it just gave me an idea to put it there. Then maybe I can take these, give myself that big section of lobelia, and then I have this whole area to work with and plant. So I'm like slowly getting done.
It's almost like painting a picture, but not knowing what picture you're painting.
It's like starting, I guess. You know what? If you are good at, like, I don't know, like I don't really have, in my head, I kind of know what works together, but I don't necessarily know how I want this garden to look. I'm just using what I have and putting it in where I feel like it can go to make this pretty.
So it's safe to say you're an abstract gardener.
Well,
you just kind of throw it all at the canvas, and you kind of have an idea of what colors work together, and then just let it go, right?
Another Allium. Can you do me a favor and get me that little shovel, the little hand shovel?
And where is that?
I don't know, somewhere over on that end. There's a little hand shovel.
Right here.
Oh, thank you. Because if I want these roots in there, I really should. Another thing when you're planting stuff like this, if your roots are like, they're a little shallow, but if you plant them too far down, backfill it, and then pull them up, the roots have farther to go because it's nice fresh dirt below them. See, like these I just set on top. Dig the hole, dig it a little too deep, kind of fill it in, and then pull it up. Then the roots are like almost already standing up underneath the ground, which is kind of what you want because you want them to work their way down. It's really the best way to plant. So that's that. And then when these come up, they'll have space and room to put up nice plants instead of being crowded. And
But eventually they'll grow together, won't they?
well, what's going to happen is next year they'll form more little clumps and rosettes around the main one. So you can divide or leave them. I don't really divide these very often. These are just kind of they kind of just do their thing. They're not very, I don't know, they don't really take off that much. Oops. But I think if I give it a nice big section, and then if there's too many or they come up and they're a little too crazy, you can remove them. They're really not that deep
Got
of a
the
plant.
shadow working in here now. Well, you're right. That sun does heat up quick.
Oh, it's awful.
Thank
So
you.
there's that. And then, so now I have like this section of dark right there, which is great. This guy, I got to move him, but I don't want to do it till I know where he's going. I don't even know what that is. I honestly shouldn't care too much about it.
Well, honey, it looks like it's taking shape. I guess we'll have to let you get back to work, and we'll check in with you later.
Yeah, let me get back to work because I haven't been working.
Yeah, I better get out of here and go do my job.
Yeah,
Before
I know. What are you doing today that you can just come home and...
I'm working,
Where?
running errands.
Yeah, running errands. More like
I'm
it.
busy.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm picking out colors.
Ugh. Me too.
You're the best, honey. It looks great. I wouldn't ever second guess you.
It wouldn't matter if you did.
Yeah, I
It
know.
wouldn't matter if you did. You got nice grasses to put in. The only problem with these is they only look good in the fall when the plume comes up. Otherwise, they're kind of boring. But such is life.
Well, we'll check in with you later, and
Yeah, can't wait. What time are you going to be home?
looking forward to it. What time are you going to be done?
Yeah, exactly.
Be home 5 minutes after.
Yeah, I believe you.
See you then, honey.
Yeah, later.
Get out of here before I get put to work.
And the cottage garden is finished for this season anyway. I did do a lot of moving around, a lot of adding things in, took a lot of color out, hopefully replaced some color, and hopefully the height transitions work. Some things are young yet, like that butterfly bush that has to really get full, tall. It's got to fill in yet, it's got to mature. But for the most part, I think this is going to shape up pretty nicely. And hopefully it gives me a few years to kind of relax and enjoy this garden, because it's been really a struggle to kind of get it to look, I don't know, to me like a decent garden that's intentionally planted as opposed to just being crammed full. I do love the crammed look, and it is crammed, like everything is pretty close together again, but I think with the height, everything should grow in nicely together. So here we go. On to 2022.